What would you say to people to try and make sure they have as best of experience as they can heading out into the run?
Particularly off-road triathlon, your legs are going to feel smashed when you head out onto the run. All that stop start and those little efforts on the mountain bike really takes it out of your legs. So just like Ben said, just be prepared and embrace the dead legs. Know that you're not going to feel your best as soon as you hop off the bike and start onto the run. But my main tip really would be to not start off too fast. It's a long way. 10 kilometers or 5 kilometers on trail is much further in time than running on the road. So you don't need to start too fast. Just build into it a little bit. Try and take on board some nutrition early on if you can, some water to cool yourself down at the start of the run, and just find a good rhythm. So it might be even that if the run starts on a really steep hill, you might just want to brisk walk up that hill and then be like, okay, like I'm ready now. I've taken on board some nutrition. I've cooled myself down after the bike. I've gathered my thoughts. I'll get up this hill and then my race starts and I'm going to like hammer the downhill and go from there. So just not starting off too fast. Just because all your family and friends and crowds are there at the start of the run, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to go light the clappers right at the start, and just embrace those crowds when you get onto the run as well. Everyone's shouting your name and just really embrace that.
Brilliant. Any other points there on the run, Jackie? Otherwise, we'll pass across to Ben for his pro tips.
Yeah, Ben can go ahead.
Just one little tip I'd add in, and coming off the bike, you're obviously in a bit of a hunched position. That sort of tends to translate into your running. You start off, you're a bit stiff, and like Jackie said, you got to try to find your run legs. And I always just try to break it down and just think when I'm on the run, a few little simple key words to be able to help me transition from the bike into the run. Run proud and run tall with good rhythm. That allows me to try to think, keep your eyes forward, your shoulders back, and your hips and knees in line. And try to keep it quick and light. Trail running, you've got to be very agile and nimble and be able to negotiate different technical sections along the way, and just being able to run proud and run tall, try to get your technique on par so that you can sort of transition from that sort of hunched over mountain bike position into a nice running stride to get you up running fast sooner rather than later.
And with nutrition for the run as well, so we've obviously come off the bike where we may have had some bottles and access to things on the bike. Do you try and take some fluid with you on the run, or how do you handle that?
Yeah, I actually do like to, in particularly long and hot races where there's not going to be too many aid stations. I like to put like a disposable bottle in transition and then perhaps just run out with the bottle full of water and just tip it over me, try and drink some whilst I'm running, and then dispose of it at the first aid station if you can, like wherever the nearest aid station is, you can just dispose of that bottle and it can just go into the rubbish. And I also change my gels for the run and go for something a lot more liquidy. So an SIS gel that's very liquidy and not too sticky, which can be consumed without too much fluid. I like to use those gels on the run so they go down a bit easier. And again, through the aid stations, it's okay to just walk a little bit and just take a gel in your own time as you're going through that aid station. Just brisk walk, take a gel, take on board some water. That's usually a good way to do it. If you're someone that does sweat a lot and needs a bit more water like that, then you do still have the options to run with a CamelBak or even run with a waist pack, which might fit a bottle in, or even handheld bottles are really good as well. We are really lucky at our races, especially the Into Adventure races and the Lake Krakenbach and Port Stephens. There are plenty of aid stations. So every time you go past, you can try and grab something, because it is very important when it's hot and there's a bit of altitude at some of those races, just to keep yourself cooled down and continue to take as much fluid as you can.
That's brilliant. Some really good points there for people who may need to take on a little bit more hydration. And just finishing up on the run there, Benny, there's a really nice point here about pushing through to the finish. Jackie's highlighted that, look, it is certainly a longer run than what we would experience on the road. Any tips there for just coming off the bike and just getting set for that and getting through to the finish?
Yeah, it's always hard. You get towards the end of the run and you're fatigued, you're tired. It starts to overcome you a little bit, and to sort of push all the way to the finish line takes a bit of mental strength, and it's hard. You can hear the crowd and the commentators and all the music, and it's just a matter of still staying focused and in the process to be able to keep pushing all the way to the finish line. Yeah, it is hard and everyone's feeling fatigued and tired, but focus on that process and breaking it down and about running pride and good technique. And yeah, you're able to do that. That'll get you through all the way to the finish line, running strong and finishing hopefully with an awesome performance.